Hello and welcome to week 32 of the Lucy Letby trial. So this is a summary of what happened in court this week. Now, the defence called another witness. Letby has finished giving her evidence and she's been cross-examined. So our final witness for the defence was a plumber. If you remember, Letby had said there had been some issues with the drainage, and she'd actually said it was very difficult to wash your hands because one of the sinks had raw sewage coming out of it, and that had happened on a number of occasions. So it made sense for the defence to call a plumber into court. Now, this plumber said yes, there were problems with the drainage, and that he thought a colleague had attended the incident that Letby was talking about. I mean, remember, we are going back, what, seven or 8 years now, aren't we? It was 2015, 2016. So he couldn't remember the date, which I think is fair enough. There was a report that was produced in court, January 2016, saying that there was a flood in the neonatal unit, and then in another nursery in the hospital, one of the sinks was blocked, and there had been, several floods. So that concluded the evidence for the defence. Then what happened was the judge spoke to the jury, and the judge, he said, well, look, this is a very, very tough case. The jury, if you remember, is made up of 8 women and 4 men. And the judge, talked about the fact that, well, you are going to feel horror because, it's deaths and near deaths of children. So it is horrific. You are also going to feel sympathy towards the family and families of the victims. But you must judge the case on the facts that you have heard in court, and you must be objective and you must be analytical. He also talked about the fact, it was quite interesting in his direction to the jury, that the prosecution have relied substantially on circumstantial evidence. That was quite interesting. Circumstantial evidence can add up to amount to guilt, but it is circumstantial. So the judge saying that, I thought, was interesting. He's just, reminding the jury that they substantially, but not wholly, relied upon circumstantial evidence. He then reminded the jury that the defendant, Letby, had been on duty each time there was a collapse of a child, but he kind of went on further to say, well, there were many possible causes of those collapses of children. He also said that expert evidence can't be relied upon, and that the jury have to be sure before they convict Letby, and it's not her job to prove her innocence, it's the prosecution's job to prove her guilt, and they can only find her guilty of murder and attempted murder if they are sure. If they have any reasonable doubt, they must acquit. So what happens next? Well, there are going to be closing speeches from the prosecution and the defence, and then the judge will sum up the case to the jury. So that's what we are expecting to see next week, week 33. And then the jury will go away and they will deliberate, which I would have thought is going to take a long time. So interesting week in court. So you've got the plumber's evidence and then you've got the judge speaking to the jury. Let me know what you think.